Have you been shadow banned by the liberal media? Free market got you down? Do you get ratioed on every Twitter post because of your shit takes on literally everything? Then producer Dave and HK are probably watching your 3-hour dissertation on how a tomato cannot possibly be a fruit because gender and critical race theory can be cured with ivermectin. The Intellectual Dollar Tree, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Please leave it a 1-star review on iTunes. Check out the rest of our schedule at echoplexmedia.com.
In this world, accessible of kindness and ethical blindness. So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Piss-Drunk fraternity guy, you got my asshole, bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planets. Oh, I just can't understand it. Conquered divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, Sherlock! I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, Sherlock! Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. Whitebeater, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. Screws in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like cats ready to go. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The polygammatic, conquered divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off! I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off! Read into the lyrics, so let the flunkies will quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
All right, welcome podcast listeners and welcome live viewers and listeners. This is the Plex. We do this show live every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific and beyond into red light. If you're catching the podcast, you're only catching the 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific hour. So head on over to twitch.tv/EchoPlexMedia. Join the old folks' home of Twitch politics, and it's also called the Now Space. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr.
Hi, I'm historian Matt, and you can find me on other shows like How the Tech Are You, which is our tech show for EchoPlex Media, doesn't go out live, but we do release it to all the podcatchers and YouTube on Wednesday. And not a correction, but a helpful info, I guess. If you're on the East Coast, you're getting the 11 to midnight portion of the podcast, or of the whole show for the podcast, which will explain why I might be yawning a little bit. What else? I guess, do you want to give the people what they want?
Police officers. I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Like your local police, cause they don't do nothing wrong. Like your local police got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fearless judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops. 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 Don't hate the cops.
So a Fox News alert for you. A remarkable story. We don't know the full parameters of it, but apparently the FBI has launched a full-scale purge of supporters of Donald Trump. That would be Joe Biden's likely opponent in the coming presidential election, and that purge has intensified significantly today. So Steve Bannon just said that yesterday alone, the FBI raided the homes of dozens of Trump allies. We want to get to the bottom of this.
Well, that was a weird place to cut it.
Yeah, that was a weird place. But maybe if they didn't break laws, they wouldn't get raided by the FBI.
Right, because Steve Bannon got arrested. I think he got arrested in like conjunction with that fucking build the wall thing that he was doing with senior airman Brian Colfidge.
Yep.
So like that has really nothing to do with the election or any like upcoming election. It has to do with like grifting a bunch of people out of money for a wall that they couldn't possibly ever build.
I think it's called defrauding in his case. Defrauding a bunch of people out of their money for a wall that didn't get built.
Not for nothing, GoFundMe just let him do it.
Oh, yeah.
It was obviously a scam from the jump, but GoFundMe is like, we're going to get our fees on this. Thank you very much. Yeah. Here's a Steve Bannon after being arrested, getting perp walked and just ranting as he walks down the hall.
This is what happens the last days of a dying regime. They will never shut me up. They'll have to kill me first. I have not yet begun to fight.
Yeah, maybe we should start.
Get the fuck out of here, you drama queen. Nobody's going to kill you. They're just charging you with fraud. Man, fucking Steve Bannon. This has like been ongoing for a while too. Like the Bannon thing is not like a new investigation. This has been under investigation since Trump's Department of Justice was the Department of Justice. This is not new. Bannon like went off and tried to make friends with the people, the Unification Church people. And then you did a video from the Unification Church guy, or the guy who runs the New York Post or whatever it is, that guy's boat. That was really weird.
Unification Church. It used to be the Moonies, right?
The Sun Young Moon or whatever. Yeah, he's no longer there, but yeah, they were derisively called the Moonies. Here's Steve Bannon outside, talking about Wall Street and shit.
You in this audience is nothing but a pauper. You know why you're a pauper? Because the Federal Reserve, the oligarchs on Wall Street, the oligarchs in Silicon Valley, in the Uniparty in Washington, D.C. Don't ask me. Look at your own lived experience. Today, go home and look at your bank account. See what inflation is.
Why did your friend Andrew Colorado guilty?
You're all in bondage. And the populist nationalist movement offers you freedom. And we are not about to back down.
Take down Mr. Bannon. Why did they plead guilty?
The audio was pretty bad, but like you got the gist of it. He was like out there ranting about the Federal Reserve and shit. It sounded like some reporters were trying to ask him questions that started with "why did," and I couldn't really make out the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping the question is, why did you even think to work with known grifter Brian Kolfage? I'm hoping that was one of the questions.
Right.
So fucking crazy. It's Steve Bannon. It has absolutely nothing to do with the election. I don't know who the other 34 people who were raided were, but it had absolutely nothing to do with the election. And as you could tell, Steve Bannon, as you could tell by the next image here, Steve Bannon, they didn't really hold him. They just purple walked him and let him go.
Yeah. I wonder what's up about that, but
it's a white collar crime, nonviolent crime. I'm okay with, he's not going to go build another wall. I don't know. Anyway, here's him.
Usually they let him go if they don't think he's gonna not be a flight risk, and I'm not so sure about him. Maybe they are. I don't know.
We'll see. Here's Steve Bannon and my ex-boyfriend Charlie Kirk.
Yesterday was one of the best days of my life. It was a very powerful spiritual day for me. It was a lot of things were came into high clarity. I was totally in the zone, as you say in sports, the entire time. And, they're not going to shut me up. We see you saw from the demonic speech that Biden gave in Philadelphia, exactly. This is a dying regime. That was a primal scream. And here, what they're trying to do, no matter who it is, Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, there were 35 FBI raids yesterday, right? Handing out, there's another grand jury coming together on January 6th. The Washington Post reported it. They just reported a couple names. There were 35 senior members of MAGA, Republicans, supporters of Donald Trump, that were the FBI rolled in on, right? When they didn't need to do it. Remember, all these people have lawyers. All their lawyers are very well known. No, the jackbooted Gestapo has got to show up at their door and make a big display of this. So there's so much going on that people don't even know.
I don't even know who the fuck else got arrested. They didn't make a big show of shit. If there were multiple perp walks, we would have just filled the upfront hour. We would have pretended it wasn't 9/11. It would have just been perp walk after perp walk after perp walk after perp walk. Would have been the perp walk hour for the upfront this week.
Yeah, he knows what he was talking about. Also, like how he went off on Biden for his, Biden had a speech where he blasted the MAGA people, and Trump has been doing that sort of thing, not against MAGA, but against all his opponents for years, and saying like semi-coherent, attacks against people. But Biden, has one speech where he goes off on the other side, and suddenly he's a caveman, crazy person.
So I think one of the other people that got arrested, or like that had got a visit from the FBI, must have been Peter Navarro, because he went on the Stu Peters show to, I don't know, act like he was part of what happened. Here's some clips of it. Here's a clip of it.
Making an example out of everybody who is an outsider by throwing them in prison or executing them. This is what will happen to you.
Yours truly is Exhibit A.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about it.
He's like, they've already executed me 3 times.
I'm like a middle class professor who served 4 years honorably by all accounts, saving lives, creating jobs. And now I'm facing $1 million in legal bills, and they already put me in leg irons. I mean, why? Just because I was a Trump guy. And it's just, I mean, this country cannot function if we have people doing that to people like me. I mean,
You're a scumbag, Peter Navarro.
Yeah.
Middle class professor. Was he a professor? I don't know. Maybe he was.
No idea. I hardly know him at all.
We've played clips of Peter Navarro a bunch of times.
Yeah, I know. I recognize the name and I recognize him, but I don't know anything more.
He was like a pick me kind of guy during the Trump thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wasn't like a Bannon or a Gorka. Even speaking of Gorka, our next clip is Gorka. He wasn't really in the inner circle. He was like maybe sort of the circle outside of that. So he was pulling a big old pick me during Trump, and that's probably how he got himself in trouble, right? Doing a little too much pick me, a little too much pick me. Here's Sebastian Gorka. He's going to, he's going to say that Trump is the most innocent man in American political history.
This is the most innocent man in American political history. For 6 years, they've come after him. First, the Billy Bush tapes, then Russia collusion, then the Mueller probe, then impeachment 1, then the quid pro quo, then impeachment 2, then the January 6th committee, now raiding his private home, never convicted of any crime. Is there anyone in politics or outside of politics who could have survived the scrutiny this man has undergone? And let's...
everybody, actually.
He's had a lot of scrutiny because he's done a lot of very questionable things, and he wasn't convicted or of any crime. While he was in office, he was basically protected from the Justice Department. They said they specifically would not go after a president,
which is stupid.
Yeah,
I think.
I think like depending on the crime, definitely.
So here's more of Steve Bannon. Him and Rudy Giuliani, famous lawyer Rudy Giuliani, are going to have a talk about whatever a special master is, and that Merrick Garland should be resign or be impeached because of some judge ordered like a special master to look over the documents that were taken in the search that was conducted at Mar-a-Lago.
And she crushed him. I don't even know. She enjoined the investigation that nothing can go forward. I don't even know how they appealed this. I don't know how they're not asking, Republicans are not asking for Merrick Garland to do the honorable thing and submit a letter of resignation. Wouldn't that be the logical? This has never happened in the history of the Republic, where a federal judge has taken. Am I incorrect in that, Rudy? You know the history.
No, you're absolutely correct. I mean, if this were normal circumstances, someone would introduce an impeachment resolution in the House. I know it's not going to go anywhere, but it should be. I mean, this is impeachment material here with regard to the Attorney General.
Impeachment for the Attorney General.
I have no idea what they're talking about, like why they think Merrick Garland did something wrong. Like, because he had the FBI raid Mar-a-Lago?
Well, searched. It was a search warrant.
Yeah.
There was some judge just said that some third party needs to take a look at what was seized, and I feel like that might be common.
I mean, these types of cases aren't very common, but special master, they're brought into, or his job, he has to have a high security clearance, and he's supposed to separate what is actually like the highly secure documents that Trump is not supposed to have versus attorney privilege and client privilege type documents that the court is not supposed to see. And also supposedly the executive privilege stuff, but it has to be something from when Trump was actually in office and could claim executive privilege on, and not currently, because he doesn't have executive privilege anymore.
And if I understand correctly, he can't go back and retroactively claim executive privilege on something now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the current administration would have to do that, and they don't seem inclined.
Right.
Yeah. So Trump's lawyer is not a very serious person at all. You know, remember the day that we found out that some of the documents were in fact information that intelligence had gathered about other countries' nuclear capabilities?
Yeah.
Well, that very morning she went on Newsmax and said this.
Okay. I saw this meme that was very funny on Instagram, I believe it was, and it said it's amazing. At first it was the codes to the nuclear weapons. Right. Now it's invisible classified documents. It could mean anything. I don't know. It could mean that they gave those documents to NARA and to the FBI prior, as we know, which they had done. It could mean there was nothing in them. It could mean they're invisible if you're, in their administration. I truly don't know.
It's funny.
Guess you didn't get the news.
Yeah. So the idea that like the launch codes would be there is so stupid. You have to assume that they just don't change the launch codes when the new president comes.
Oh yeah.
That there's just like a fucking code that you dial into your fucking phone and it starts launching missiles and shit. Like having like a 6-month-old like stale ass launch code is probably illegal, I guess, but you can't really do anything with it.
Right. Right.
Like I don't care if he like wrote down the launch code, whatever the fuck that means. Like that's not nobody thought he had that. Yeah, it's just 7777. It's easy to remember. Fuck, man. All right.
I don't know much about this lawyer. I've heard some things. I don't know if it's that one or a different one, but Trump was having some severe problems getting a lawyer because he, doesn't pay them.
He has a history of his attorneys actually getting arrested. So
that too, yeah.
Oh man. So we're definitely not getting to this whole docket tonight. I can already tell. We're going to go to the good liars here. It's just a short clip. It's actually only illegal when Hillary does it. Whatever it is.
Do you think Hillary Clinton should have been charged for treason?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But the Clinton clan will cover them no matter what happens.
And if Trump it's found that he had the classified documents, would you want to charge him with treason?
No, negative.
No.
No, I would not.
Okay. But if he did the same thing that with Hillary, would you want him to be charged?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. But her, she could go treason, maybe potentially die. Him, if he did the same thing, no treason.
Because Trump is a patriot, Hillary is not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, at least that guy's fucking willing to just say it.
Yeah.
You got to admire his honesty. Oh, man. All right. I really don't like that a lot of fucking blue wave types like the Lincoln Project. Right. You know why? Because the Lincoln Project went about the business of creating the monster. And then once the monster was unleashed, they're like, oh, shit, we got to do something about this monster. So that's why I don't like them.
Yeah.
And here's Rick Wilson of the Lincoln Project talking shit on Trump. And I say, let them fight. I hope they politically destroy one another.
Yeah.
Hey, folks. Wanted to say hi really quickly and to just give Donald Trump a message. Since you threatened to sue the Lincoln Project this morning, go for it. Go for it, bitch. Come at me.
This is so sad.
We're delighted by the thought that you would try to sue us, Donald. Do it. Do it. I double dog dare you. When we put up the billboards in Times Square of Jared and Ivanka during the COVID crisis at the end of the 2020 campaign, we received this letter from Mark Kasowitz, Donald Trump's attorney, and it was this complete, blustering shit show. Oh, we will certainly sue you. We read it in the Bain voice, right? You're not going to sue anybody, Donald. You're not going to do shit. You're not going to do a goddamn thing. You are weak. You are impotent. You are flabby. You are sitting there in the bridal suite at Mar-a-Lago or in the bridal suite at Bedminster, grinding your gears, wondering why The Lincoln Project, no matter how many times you tried to kill us, keeps coming at you. You know why? We're here in this fight for the long haul because you are a threat to democracy. You are a threat to America. You are a threat to the Republic. You are a threat to the Constitution. You are a thief of classified documents. You are a traitor to this country. You've tried to overthrow this government and the system of our peaceful transition of power, and fuck you. We're here. You're not. We will keep kicking your ass every single day. So if you want to try to sue us, Donald, go for it. Throw down. Let's go. We can't wait. You won't do it because you are, in fact, as I said previously, completely impotent. Just ask Melania. Anyway, folks, other than that, it's a great day for America. Steve Bannon is looking at the inside of a jail cell once again. Donald Trump is raging in Mara, go fuck yourself, or Bedminster, wherever he is today. And it's a good day to be in the fight. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for creating the modern Republican Party, Rick Wilson. Thanks. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
I mean, that was almost a palate cleanser.
I mean, almost.
Like it needs some popcorn.
Almost. Yeah. I say let them fight. And there was a lot of sex shaming there, some gendered slurs and shit. That's that's not a serious person either. Right. Rick Wilson is not a serious person. And they're just mad that their neocon grift came to an end. That they weren't, that Donald Trump wasn't rah war or whatever. Among his many faults, he wasn't running as a wartime president. And so Rick Wilson and those people got fucking shut out and they didn't like it. And so they went after him because they were that's my ball. And that's why I fucking hate them. They don't have any principles. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
The worst of them is Bill Kristol, but anyway, he at least has the good sense to keep his fucking mouth shut. So here we go. We got more dumbassery about the fucking Hail Satan speech that Biden gave last week. I fucking loved that shit.
I think I only caught a part of it. I should probably go back and watch it.
I just liked the imagery. It looked very satanic, and I was for it. Anyway, here's CNN. Here's CNN both sidesing that shit.
He wished Hitler would have finished the job. Anti-Semitic things, hateful things. How? Or how should voters process that that's who Donald Trump wants to speak at his rallies?
Optics are everything, as you know, in politics, John. And as you can see there, the former president of the United States has run into some issues with optics coming out of his rally this week. And at the same time, you also saw President Biden come into some criticism for optics coming out of his event this week, not comparing those two, but just saying that
you just did.
Both President Biden and former President Trump are having some difficulties when it comes to optical issues that both could have avoided in the past week. And I wanted to say something about the Pennsylvania Senate race. We were
just optics, just having a full-blown fucking Nazi speak at your rally. The same thing as some people thinking maybe the current president's thing looked a little satanic. It's just optics. All optics.
Yeah.
Oh my God. CNN is just a fucking, it's, I don't know. They're confusing. They've been doing it for a while now. They're getting confused. Balance isn't the same thing as the truth. They're trying to be balanced all at the expense of the truth, at the expense of saying, actually, this is way worse than this. Both.
Yeah. I heard that CNN took a right turn recently as sort of, I guess, because they were getting bashed for being a left-wing organization for so long. They're trying to look more central.
I think it's pretty easy. I mean, I could tell you why. Who watches cable TV? Who still has cable? Older people, and older people tend to be more conservative.
Yeah. Everybody else is on the internet.
Yep. Show me the money, baby. Show me the money. Here's some other dumb shit. This one's better though. This is MAGA pastor. He's going to talk about the power of Satan. This is going to be a way better clip about what I'm just going to call Biden's satanic coming out speech.
Something hit him when he got up there. I know what that something was. The power of Satan himself. Yeah. just like Senator Palpatine in Star Wars. Can barely walk until Satan touches him, and then he becomes this rough and tough. But he's a coward without Satan's power. When he came there, the drugs kicked in, and he delivered a commanding speech. Oh, yeah. Drugs? By his standards. He started off real hoarse, but like a pro, he managed to get over it, fumbled over the first few words, and then Satan took over. Joe Obama spent weeks preparing this speech and the background. This was something that was set up by Satan himself.
That was way better than the other one, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Satan took over. Satan's pretty good fucking speechwriter. I mean, I'm with it, right? Like, I don't know. My favorite thing about all that was all the people saying it was satanic. And I even made a few bucks selling shirts suggesting that it's satanic. So everybody wins. Everybody wins.
There we go.
So up next, I try not to do too much of this, but we're going to play some clips of a man who could very likely be Georgia's next senator.
My opponent, Senator Raphael Warnock, I remember hearing him say, America need to apologize for its whiteness. And I'm like, that's not in the Bible I've read. Because if you really look at the situation, our founding fathers already apologized for his whiteness. Because if you read the Constitution, it talks about every man being treated fair. But what we've done, we put the wrong person at the table to do the negotiation for you.
What the fuck?
No idea.
He's up by 3 points, dude.
I thought he was way behind before, but okay.
Well, but it was if he was behind by like 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like Mr. Oz where sometimes he's down by 12 points. We do have some Mr. Oz is up next, but here's another Herschel Walker. He's talking about bowls and fields and cows and pregnancy. It's all over the place.
I'll tell you this little story I heard one time. It's about everybody thinking something is better somewhere else. And I remember talking about this bull that was out in the field, and he had 6 cows with him. 3 of them was expecting calves. He had these 6 cows, but what he was worried about, he kept his nose up against the fence, seeing these other 3 cows up on the hillside. So as he's looking up on the hillside of these other 3 cows, not worried about what he got now, the grass as tall as his knees, all he had to do is eat grass. But he worried about something else. And so one day, he measured that fence up. He measured that fence up and he said, I think I can jump this fence and get over there with those other cows. Now, not worried about what he got. I can jump it. I'm going to get over there. So as he got back one afternoon, he took off running. And he dove. And as he made it over the fence, his belly got all cut up and stuff. And he rolled up and he got up and he knew he would have made it on the other side. He was so excited about it. And then he ran to the top of the hill. When he got up there, he realized that they were bulls too. And the reason I tell you that, don't think something is better somewhere else. This is a good place. And the way we make it better is by coming together. So I'm Herschel Walker. I'm going to win that Senate.
So this is go ahead.
That was a coherent story, at least. I don't know what the point of it was, but I mean, at least it kind of made sense and it was kind of funny. That was pretty good for him.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on with him is what happens when you're rich and you're surrounded by people who only tell you yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like, there's nobody in this guy's life who can tell him no. There was a really good episode on the Unpops network about this guy's history of abusing people, including partners of his, etc. And so there's like nobody. For the one reason is that he's rich, but 2, also he's been an abusive motherfucker for a lot of his life. And so there's nobody around him willing to tell him no. So he's just going to go fucking probably win the Senate seat. And I don't know what the fuck he's going to do after he wins. Like, just kind of caucus with the Republicans and just vote for whatever they vote for. I don't know.
Is he going to try and abuse other senators? That's probably not going to work out well.
I wouldn't get kicked out for it.
Yeah.
Well, on the bright side, here's somebody who's going to lose.
Okay.
Like it's not. Some of the
it's not even close anymore.
Some of the Pennsylvania media is trying to pretend that the Mr. Oz versus John Fetterman thing is close. It's not. He's going to lose. And here he is on whether or not the election was stolen in 2020.
Jan tweeted in, do you believe the 2020 election is stolen? The second part of this, I think, is to me, but you won't ask a hard question like that. So here's the first question. Do you believe the 2020 election is stolen?
I've been asked that question many times. As a doctor, I'm very precise with the words I use. There's lots more information we'd have to gather in order to determine that. And I'd be very desirous of gathering some. I think it would improve the process in general.
So, yes. Or no.
It sounds like it.
As a doctor, I have to be very precise. Like when I huck these weird supplements on my TV show over and over and over again.
I'm very precise and not actually claiming they do anything.
Right. What I'm going to do
is make you think they do.
What I'm very precisely going to do is not answer your fucking question.
That's right.
Well, here's someone who did lose. It's Sarah Palin. And everybody should be angry that she lost.
I wasn't even paying attention.
That harms the entire nation. So I think the entire country should be angry at what's going on with this establishment system. And it was the political establishment that created this system with the ranked choice voting and without encouraging the other Republican to drop out once he got thumped 3 times. Others should be outraged about what's going on here because our system is harming the rest of the U.S.
She lost in Alaska, like deep red Alaska.
Right, where they I remember that they did the ranked choice. They changed to ranked choice voting. And I'm not a super fan of ranked choice voting, but it's better than what we have if you have more than one candidate. And I know I think the Republicans are now using that election as an exemplar, saying we do not want to do ranked choice anywhere else in the nation because then we'll never win again. And it's that's more telling on yourself than on ranked choice voting, right?
Also, not for nothing, going around telling everybody that they didn't get Sarah Palin because of ranked choice voting is actually probably going to make ranked choice voting more popular.
I think in some groups definitely will. Also, I just want to be clear. I'm not a super fan of ranked choice voting because I think approval voting is better. Having tried them both out and done some research on the area, again, it's better than what we have now if we have more than one candidate running for some election.
So here's more on ranked choice voting. This time she's on the Steve Bannon show. I'm unsure if this is before or after Steve Bannon got arrested again.
Well, you called it, Steve, when you explained what this newfangled cockamamie system called ranked choice voting is all about, when it doesn't matter if you perhaps are the most popular or most qualified candidate. You can get a whole lot of votes, Steve, but if you don't get enough second or third rankings from voters who choose another candidate, then you're eliminated,
you weren't
or
the
then
most
you get
popular.
second place and you don't win. And it's complicated. You explained it best. President Trump explained it very well in a rally that he had up here,
I'm sure he did.
Alaskans that this newfangled experiment with ranked choice voting will split votes. It will allow liberals to skip on in, which is exactly what's happened thus far. And it's a very, very potentially fraught with fraud even system.
So I like how she thinks it's complicated for you to be like, my first, second, and third choice are as follows.
I want to argue that yes, it is complicated, not for anything that they're saying or saying that it's fraught with fraud, but when you have too many people to vote for in ranked choice, or there's some people that you don't know much about, it becomes really difficult to actually rank your choices. You may very obviously know what your first, second, and third is, but like the lower numbers you might not know, and then does that invalidate your ballot or not?
No.
Who knows? Like how do you deal with that? I think there's some ways of dealing with that.
No, the way I understand the systems that do ranked choice voting is if you just pick your first one, that's just all you get. If you pick two, then you get two. You get to decide. They don't just throw out your ballot because you didn't rank them numbers one. They don't just throw out your ballot because you didn't rank all 12 of them 1 through 12 as according to your favorite. If you want to just vote for one in ranked choice, you can vote for just one. If you want to just vote for two, you can vote for two. There's no system in which they're going to invalidate your ballot because you didn't vote for enough people.
Okay.
They don't do it that. It doesn't happen that way. That's actually like one of the dumb things that people say about ranked choice is that, oh, you have to vote. You have to rank all 14 of these people. No, you just pick your favorite one, but then you don't get to pick your second choice. And you're in a way in that system by not picking your second choice. There's a way in which you are throwing away your ballot. If your first choice doesn't win, you're like taking away your own voice. So it's voluntary. You don't have to vote for any of them. You can just leave the whole fucking thing blank. You turn in a blank ballot with just your name
away completely. But that, I mean, some people don't want to vote for something or they don't have a good idea. I did not know that. I was like, I was under the impression that problems happened if you didn't vote for everybody, rank everybody. No, but that makes sense because from what I can tell, from what I remember, how they actually calculate the numbers, it's the voting system. It would work even if you didn't have everybody listed there. So just eventually your ballot would be thrown out if they had to go too far down the list.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And anyways, it still means if you lost a ranked choice voting ballot election, like you were not the most popular. That's bullshit. What Sarah Palin was saying, she lost. No doubt about it.
Right. Because she probably got a lot of first places or whatever. I don't know. She also threw some other Republican under the bus during that election. She fucked that whole thing up. So she knew the rules too before she went into that election.
Yeah.
Just like
the problem is if you have ranked choice or you use approval, any of those, like the new types of voting systems there, you do better if you're more moderate. And if you're more extreme, you'll get some first from the extreme wing of your base, but everybody else is going to vote against you. Like if you get first and last and like everywhere, you're not doing so well. But if you get firsts and seconds, or thirds, or even seconds and thirds, you can actually do a lot better.
I mean, that's one of the arguments for it. I just think it's better. I just think like it's better than what we have, because if you go there and you're like, oh, I actually like two of these people, then you can go, but I like this person better. Then you can go 1 and 2. It's just better.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's actually you can check out a episode of the Plex. It's an interview with the last name is Justice, and it's about approval voting. You just go to our website, you hit approval voting in the search bar, and you can grab it on your podcatcher of choice. We're going to move on to.
That was on Encyclopedia Podcastica.
Oh, you could still search for it on my website.
Yeah, you can still find it.
Sorry. We're going to move on to news about the Queen, but don't worry. It's just going to be, the news we would cover about the Queen. I don't give a fuck about the Queen. But neither does this lady on the street, apparently, that CNN tries to talk to.
She lives here in Windsor, and I just wonder what your first reaction was when you heard the news that the Queen is under medical supervision.
I think it's pretty sad, like, when anyone kind of gets in that position, like, you wouldn't want that to happen to your own family member. But I'm not, like, the biggest fan of the Queen, or just, like, the monarchy in general, so I wasn't, like, that upset or overwhelmed by it. It was just something that happens, I guess.
You're not the biggest fan of the monarchy. I wonder why.
Mainly to do with like British, like colonial history, things like that. A lot of things that have gone on which have been quite shady, even like recently with like Prince Andrew and everything. So yeah, I'm not really their biggest fan.
Fair enough. Well, it was nice talking to you. There's a couple of Americans over here as well who are on holiday here from Cleveland, and I just wonder, what did you guys think when you first heard the news that the Queen is under medical supervision?
Well, we were surprised. Here we are on a holiday, and then all of a sudden all this hubbub comes, which is, kind of different dynamic for your typical tourism day.
I wonder what your perception is of the Queen more generally.
I think she's an amazing woman. I mean, if you think what she has seen in her lifetime and what she's done with nationally, globally, family, and she's kept a level head. And she's 96 years old and has been going strong till now. That's impressive.
Yeah, for sure. Anderson, I just have to tell you before we wrap up here that
impressive like a trust fund. What are you talking about? There's nothing impressive about being born into the royal family and then not wilding out all the time. I'd like to think that if I had that kind of money, I could be pretty level-headed and just kind of keep it mellow. But
there's a little bit of being in the news all the time and having to be real careful what you do because everything's public. But for what billions of dollars, I think I could handle that.
Right. Money makes certain things a little bit easier.
Yeah, and apparently that money's not even going to be taxed when it
of course not.
Transfers.
Yeah, of course not. Come on.
Of course not.
Of course not. So,
yeah.
I mean, how do you tax a $400 million ruby that's in a crown? It's just too complicated.
Yeah.
So apparently,
you tax it by giving it back to India.
Oh, please, sir, please, please. Let's not get crazy, Matt.
That's right.
So apparently, CNN is very concerned as to whether or not Joe Biden is going to invite Donald Trump to the Queen's funeral.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on over at CNN?
No idea.
That is just fascinating me, which is the notion that it's going to be basically left up to President Biden as to whether or not he brings other presidents with him to the Queen's funeral. I mean, the UK has made it very clear that's up to the president. He's invited and he can bring whatever delegation. So obviously Obama, Carter, Bush, no brainers. What about Trump? Will he invite Trump?
We'll see. I mean, that is a difficult question of protocol of diplomacy. But I am told by a couple diplomatic officials that, the Buckingham Palace is leaving it up to every country individually. I mean, imagine the nightmare of trying to do former presidents and former, defense ministers. But in this case, it would be an easy solution if Trump wasn't in the picture. We'll see what they do. I mean, President Obama, when he was in office, he invited President Bush, President Clinton, President Carter to go with him to Nelson Mandela's funeral as part of the delegation. So there is protocol for having U.S. presidents invite other presidents. Who knows? Maybe in the spirit of forgiving and giving, President Biden will invite Donald Trump on the Air Force One. I doubt that'll happen, but I do expect some type of a bipartisan delegation. But look, they are leaving it to the White House, we're told. The White House is saying we're not going to say anything about this until the palace makes funeral arrangements. But by Monday, they're going to have to figure this out because the funeral time will be announced tomorrow.
See, I think that the clever move is to invite him.
Yes. And then see if he goes.
I don't think former President Trump would want to be subordinate on Air Force One. And I think probably he prefers his own plane anyway. What do you think?
I think that's probably true.
What the fuck? The easy answer is no.
Yeah.
No. You don't invite that motherfucker anywhere. You're the current president of the United States. No matter who you are, you're trying to make the rest of the world forget about that shit.
Yeah, I think I get it. It's a queen. It's important to people in the UK and all, but I think it's kind of weird that any of us in the US, particularly the president, would be going to the funeral of somebody who represented an institution that we rebelled against to create our country in the first place,
And not for nothing, it's like a fake monarch. It's like a fake monarch too.
Yeah, I know. It's not a real monarch anymore, and we have a much better relationship now. But it just strikes me as a little bit weird.
Yeah, you'd think we'd just kind of stand on principle and not go and be like, listen, no personal shade, but read a history book.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't even you think anybody involved wants Donald Trump to go?
Nobody wants him there.
Nobody, the people for the German delegation doesn't want him to go. The French delegation doesn't want him to go. I don't know if there's a Russian delegation. Those people are probably split. The British folks don't want him to go. The Spanish delegation doesn't want him to go. None of them motherfuckers the Japanese delegation doesn't. Nobody wants that motherfucker to go to anybody's party anymore. And also, not for nothing, he's under investigation.
Right. He may not be legally allowed to leave the country right now.
Well, no, that's actually not true. They haven't taken his passport or anything, but it's don't encourage it. What are you doing?
Yeah, really.
Just don't encourage this man's narcissism by inviting him to the fake queen's funeral. Jesus Christ. For fuck's sake. What a dumb fucking thing to say. Speaking of dumb things to say, here's Tucker Carlson going to talk about why he's going to talk about colonialism, but he's going to suggest that the people of Africa should be grateful for colonialism.
Of course.
To this day, Britain claims to have won both of the 20th century's world wars, but together they destroyed that nation forever. After victory came humiliation. The empire evaporated, and along with it, Britain's self-confidence and ultimately its self-respect. It's hard to believe now, but Britain wasn't always a regional banking center / refugee camp. It was a real place with a history and a language and a culture and a genuinely remarkable people. A country in the North Atlantic the size of Alabama that somehow took over the world and ruled it with decency unmatched by any empire in...
What the fuck?
I think that's the low bar thing. He was going to say, ruled with a decency unmatched by any other empire. It's yeah, they all sucked. What's your point?
And not for nothing, he just threw the entire current population of the country under the bus, too, by saying, they were once a decent people with a language and shit. What, do they fucking grunt at each other now, Tucker?
That's true.
They had a culture. He called it a refugee camp and shit. Fucking goddamn, dude.
Yeah.
Human history. The British Empire was not perfect, but it was far more humane than any other, ever. It's gone now, barely even remembered. Queen Elizabeth II was the last living link to a truly great Britain. Today on social media, the usual ghouls celebrated her death. Quote, "May her pain be excruciating," a Carnegie Mellon professor called Uju Anya wrote on Twitter of the Queen. "May she die in agony." Various know-nothings in the media, including a columnist at The Atlantic and a couple of employees of NBC News, seconded that thought. The British Empire was evil, they wrote, apparently totally unaware of what came after it. And speaking of what did come after the British Empire.
The American one?
For example, did Africa fare after the British left? Let's see. Uganda got Idi Amin, who was a cannibal. Rhodesia became Zimbabwe and then became the poorest country on the planet under...
But tell us more about Rhodesia and what happened in Rhodesia for a little while. There was a whole white supremacist, there was a whole, they were trying to have a white supremacist state in Rhodesia, against the wishes of the people of Rhodesia. He just, not going to bring that part up.
Under the racist lunatic Robert Mugabe. As of tonight, South Africa is still being run into the ground by an incompetent kleptocrat called Cyril Ramaphosa. So it's hard to see any of that as an improvement because it's not an improvement. Sorry, Atlantic Magazine. And now, of course, the entire continent of Africa has a new master, the Chinese government. China is the latest colonial power to dominate Africa.
But that's actually bad.
Subjects will be pining for the British soon, assuming they are not already.
I mean, that was just the worst fuck. He came in hot with after World War II, they destroyed, I guess, Britain got destroyed, and then they weren't a colonial power, and now everybody there sucks. And they fucking just a refugee camp and shit. Fucking get the fuck out of here. He's oh, it's just a banking center. And it's dude, London is one of the richest cities in the world. The United Kingdom,
City of London. Yeah.
They have so much extra money that they had a queen that doesn't even do anything, that they just kept as a fucking decoration, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. That's very much what they did.
they they have so much goddamn money. They're going to get a king now. And he's like not even into jewelry probably. And he's going to like be wearing like a fucking $6 million bracelet and shit just to like go to like a dinner somewhere. They got so much goddamn money that they stole from fucking people. Like, fuck, man. Oh my God. Here goes Charlie Kirk. Talking about just a kinder, gentler colonialism, for fuck's sake.
We have some amazing guests this hour. In fact, we're guest heavy today, and it's because the news warrants it. We have Bruce Gilley, who's a professor of political science, joining us, all about British colonialism, a very provocative topic that will assuredly make the media lose their mind about how British colonialism actually made the world decent. Separation of powers, habeas corpus, freedom of speech, individual property rights, the respect and the dignity of the individual. Where did all those come from? The Magna Carta, the great thinkers of Edmund Burke to Shakespeare. Why is it that the world actually became more civil? Well, certain cultures are better than others. Saying that out loud is a thought crime.
Oh, dude, whoa. Just straight up white supremacy, right?
Yep.
Just straight up white supremacy right there.
Was the most benign global empire ever, and it's kind of sparked this conversation after the tragic and incredibly unfortunate death.
It was not benign. I don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Like people of India would like a word, sir.
Who was by all
and Africa
an incredibly stoic and wise woman who loved her country, was also a devout woman of faith. And something that I'm very concerned about is that her death is only going to continue the secularization of Great Britain. It seems as if as the bloodline continues, people that will now be taking the throne, literally, and taking the crown, do not have the reverence for the church like she does. Or she did, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sounds like it's at least a little bit better.
Yeah, like my only hope is that I think it's Charles is next. My only hope is that Charles like puts the brakes on things and starts to fucking dismantle the monarchy.
Yeah, I don't know.
After what they fucking did to his fucking wife, and I'm not suggesting that they had her killed. It's just the way they treated his wife, and her son's wife. Maybe he might be inclined to start dismantling the monarchy. Yikes.
Yeah. I just want to point out, it keeps Charlie Kirk and Tucker were both saying that the British Empire was benign. And as you said, like maybe India would like to have a word, but it was also pretty bad in Africa. And we're all forgetting about the Native Americans who would like to have a word.
Oh yeah.
And indigenous Australians, like there is, there's a lot of people who would not agree with that assessment. And I'm probably forgetting like a bunch of people.
Even like the fucking rich upper class white guys that we call the founding fathers might like a word about all that. They're just mad about taxes though, which is the most American thing. We'll run a few minutes long. I hope you don't mind sticking around just a couple minutes long tonight. First, I want to tell you about 63. It's actually the most American temperature.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's talk about the situation out there, Kurt. Have Gavin Newsom's power police come and knocked on your door and told you to turn up your thermostat and not to charge your electric car?
Well, being a man, I don't have an electric car. I have a BMW like normal lawyers.
Wow.
And as for my thermostat, I'm going to run it at 63. You know why? Because I'm an American, and I'm not going to accept this lowering of standards.
Sniveling little pips. Like the dude's got like the voice of like some sniveling kind of fucking pipsqueak guy, but then he's got like he looks like he might punch you.
Man.
Yeah, God damn it.
I'm a man. I need it.
Like we don't do that. Like it's like it puts us in a weird position, right? Because we're not the masculinity police. It's like, for fuck's sake.
Right.
It's just the juxtaposition of his like supposed man. I'm gonna get myself in fucking trouble if I keep talking.
Governor. It was a beautiful state. It's full of opportunity, and I got to make my dreams come true. I got this law firm. I'm a writer. I was a stand-up comic. I got to be an Army officer. I have a wonderful family. I mean, I've really lived the American dream, and it never occurred to me I couldn't do something in California. And now my beautiful state, thanks to the magic of socialism, which is the only thing powerful enough to overtake something as glorious as California, they're asking me to settle for blackouts. That's third world stuff. 20 years ago, if somebody said, yeah, California's not going to have enough power, we'd have put them in, we'd have taken a butterfly net and taken them to a loony bin.
Wait, what?
Now we're
Here you are.
expected to just accept this? That's crazy talk.
How are you going to capture somebody with a butterfly net?
Like, back when it was more capitalistic, you had Enron like screwing California and on power and having roving blackouts. Then have there been many blackouts there, Dave?
Localized, sure, but that happens when it gets hot. But the grid, like, more or less held. Shout out to the people who went outside in that 100 and however many degrees and fucking did like hard work. Because PG&E ain't exactly a great company. Like, they don't really have the best track record on this shit. But the grid held. But if you were to go to Newsmax, you'd think that the fucking grid failed.
Right.
And
also, I want to point out that if you obviously, I don't think you can specifically, but if you had a house and you put solar panels on your roof and had battery backup, like California's trying to push, like it's very common, you probably would have been fine because solar still works in a heat wave.
And not for nothing, if everybody had an electric car and the car, say the grid started to have some problems and everybody's car was charged, those cars could start fucking putting power back in the grid.
Yeah, I don't think we're set up to do that, but eventually that's what they want to do.
Yeah. I don't know enough about it. And plus that may be some weird propaganda from Elon that I'm buying into. So I'm going to hedge by saying I don't know too much about it. We got one more. We got Jordan Peterson.
Oh no.
But don't worry, it's from Bad Stats. So it's like just the best little bits of Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
Everybody make sure you're following the Bad Stats. And then afterwards I have like a funny, like somebody did a remix.
Okay.
Of this. Okay. So here's he complained, this was a 20-minute video, but don't worry, we're only going to get like 2 to 2.5, maybe 3 minutes of clips from this. Shout out to the Bad Stats, one of my favorite Twitter accounts.
A few weeks ago, the wise folks at Twitter deemed it necessary to suspend my access to that platform, despite the fact that I had several million followers, despite the fact that I had used the platform in good faith, despite the fact that I had put in the years of time and effort necessary to gain such an extensive following, despite the fact, as well, that I was a genuine force on Twitter, trending with a rather appalling and frightening degree of regularity. In many ways, I'm your monster.
He's not wrong, kind of.
I mean, well, what did he say that was, got him kicked off? Because I'm sure he said something stupid.
Yeah, I don't know what it was this time.
What?
I don't know what it was this time. This shit just keeps happening.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll tell us in this next clip. Who fucking knows?
Okay.
Twitter is a very difficult platform to use properly, and I have plenty to learn on that front. I didn't want to ignore Twitter despite its pitfalls, even though I probably should have, because for better or worse, your platform is a major social player and psychological/sociological phenomenon, one that I wanted to and needed to and felt a real responsibility to understand, and one that is impossible to understand, let alone master or diagnose, without its actual use.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
He's like acting like he's doing something for Twitter by having a bunch of followers on there.
Yeah.
Like that he's helping them. Here's him fanboying a little bit about Elon Musk.
We might also point out, since we're talking about moral insufficiency, that your recent discussions with Elon Musk didn't fare so well, did they?
For Elon.
The company seemed utterly unable or unwilling to specify even the percentage of fake bot accounts active on Twitter. A supporter of Twitter might object Mr. Musk was just looking for the way out of a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
I personally find that argument weak to the point of preposterousness. It's not at all obvious to me that Mr. Elon Musk is anyone's fool, particularly not Twitter's.
I mean, maybe not, but his stock took a dive, and suddenly it seemed like he may be having trouble getting money together, so he decided to try and get out of the deal. That makes sense, or at least get a better deal or something. You know what I mean?
Here's him talking about how it was unconstitutional to ban Trump from the platform.
I do understand, as I said, that many unpalatable and immoral broadsides were launched against Mr. Trump, including his banning from Twitter, Mr. Agrawal, a stain on the political landscape which has not yet been scrubbed away. Company had the presumption to ban Mr. Trump, despite the fact that he was the democratic choice of the majority of your populace. Elected president.
No, that's not how our elections work, you dumb fuck.
You haven't seen fit to lift that ban, despite the fact that there is truly no shortage of genuinely bad actors on your very poorly run platform. And despite the fact that you simply do not have the moral standing or the authority in the most fundamental moral rather than narrowly legalistic sense to interfere in the operation of the polity that encompasses your operation and that you, hypothetically, are bound in allegiance to. You could have just let him continue with his Twitter actions and let the people judge. That's what the Constitution of your country enables them to do. And you interfered with that, and you haven't changed your mind, and you've doubled down instead.
He's just wrong.
I mean, he's talking about people... Trump broke the TOS. He was constantly doing it as well. The only reason he wasn't dropped off earlier is because he was the president of the United States. And then he complains about other people having problems or doing bad things on Twitter. And yeah, Twitter has a big problem there. So I don't really want to defend Twitter too much, but this is stupid.
That's okay. This next thing I'm going to show you is not stupid. Check this out.
Okay.
Hey, it's literally 2 a.m. I woke up suddenly from my slumbers with minions on my mind. Minions are evilly motivated, and they are not so easily dispensed with. Being black, I think that breasts literally do not exist. I am straight, although who knows when push comes to shove. Twitter is a platform. I tweeted several thousand low-resolution screenshots of gay porn. Within hours, I was banned again. Why? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally, 6. I would rather die than die. Bruh. All dicks are exceptionally tiny except mine, which is almost 1 inch at minimum. Minions are valid. Sex is bad. LOL, LMFAO, bro, bruh, dude.
That was good.
People have been remixing his fascist screeds a lot lately. That one was really, really good. Matt, thanks for sticking around a couple extra minutes. I know you said you were a little tired before the show started. My mind's a little bit tired too, though. I'm starting to... the wheels are starting to turn a little bit. I got some great stuff in store for Red Light. Everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast. If you're checking out the podcast and you've never watched live, check it out on Sundays. Also check out our other shows. And check out How the Tech Are You? That's our podcast about tech. You can grab that on the same place you're listening to this if you're checking out the podcast. And we're going to play Boomers by Periscope, and I'll be back. I'll have to change the color of the lights, change the contents of my beverage. And, Thanks again, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
You recall Friday nights at 9 p.m., it's time to sit back, relax, and play Conspiracy Bingo with Echoplex Media. We've curated the best conspiracy theorists the internet has to offer and turned it into a live bingo game you can play for free with absolutely no prizes but bragging rights. You won't find a live stream like this anywhere else, and that's probably better for everyone else's mental health. Tune in every Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/EchoplexMedia and find our full schedule at echoplexmedia.com.